There we go.
Oh, it's not when you do that.
Oops, no, it has to be this way, doesn't it? And there's nobody there yet.
That's all right. Good morning. We have the last of our Curvacious table runner that we're doing this morning. And I have everything cut out and ready. I did my table runner like a good little girl. I got a little pat in the back from Deb. There we go. And what's really cool is that Anne-Marie sent us a picture of hers already done, which was very nice. And Deb will get those posted shortly. But we're just going to show you this a little bit because the pattern we find is kind of unclear. You know, it does tell you to cut 24 of those things, but it doesn't tell you to cut the stripey thing, right? So we are going to, so I already cut my last 4 curves out. My last 4 curves are the ones that you're going to use on your binding.
These are the ones they don't really tell you about, aren't they?
They are the ones they just sort of, yeah, you just kind of look at the picture and you kind of have to know.
Morning, Jane. Morning, Shelley. Hello to anybody else who's out there. Joanne.
Good morning, good morning. People should just say morning.
Yeah, no good. Just
This is not good.
the big M.
No. And now, every time we do this in the morning, all I'm going to be able to think about is Judy Jameson saying there are 2 different AJs. There's morning AJ, and then there's Thursday night AJ.
Morning, Sharon. Morning, Barbara.
Sharon who?
Sharon Sear Boyle.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, there. Shelley said morning.
Morning.
Penny blew it and said good morning.
No, Penny.
Good morning, Penny.
Penny. Although she works in a hospital, she'd have to be chipper with people at all hours. So, you needed your last 4 curves cut, and they're the same fabric that you're going to use your binding for. So I pre-made my binding out of this delicious stripe, which please don't ask me because we don't have any more left, and neither does Northcutt.
And this is the part that the pattern doesn't really tell you about clearly, does it?
Well, it didn't tell me anything because Deb was reading it and telling me what to do. But
Morning, Pat in Boston.
Pat Chambers was in and she told me, it doesn't really do that clearly. I'm like, thanks for letting me know. Because really, my partner takes the pattern home with her and then gives me a list of things that I have to finish. So, because we did tell you that it was all about her showing me what to do, me not pretending I already didn't know what I was doing because I didn't know what I was doing. So, I'm going to just turn my iron on. There we go. And we're going to press these down. I'm sure by now you guys have this down pat. Once I started in on it after our little thing yesterday, not yesterday, last week I guess it was, I just continued on because it was on a roll, right? Like once you get going, it comes together really quickly actually. So, and don't mind any noise. There's a man here. We live right beside a field, so if there's a man here laying some things down for little mice, because mice have bested my husband. They have bested him. He's not happy. So I don't know if any of you can relate to that.
Of mice and men.
Of mice and men. That is the story this morning, is of mice and men. So I'm just going to press these guys down, and if you remember, we pop them right into the corner. I'll grab my other one.
Did anyone have any questions or challenges from last time or suggestions or tips for other people? Let us know.
My nose always itches when we do these. Is it a thing?
I forget what that means. An
Probably
itchy
that,
nose.
I don't know. One of them was scratching your hand. One of them's itching your nose. One hand is kiss a fool, and one hand means you're coming into money. But I don't know which one it is. Well, I am very pleased with the way this has come out. Although, like I said, I'd have to do this again with my Santa. Doing a more of an on point. And we've had some people come into the shop this past week that were telling me that they had done the same thing. They were glad I made the mistake because they had some really glad I made that mistake for y'all, so you didn't have to make it. You're welcome.
Oh, good. Pat says our picture's better. We're trying a different phone on a different provider, so
Yeah, like my phone,
hopefully,
my house,
yeah,
my provider.
her rules.
Yep, my house, my rules. All right. Okay, Deb, so I got this down
Oh,
now.
noses kiss a fool.
Okay.
One hand is getting money, one hand is giving money.
Oh, one hand's getting was. Oh, okay. Well, I better make sure I kiss my hubby before I go to work today. Well,
She could have
actually,
said
I
me.
guess
Thank goodness she didn't say me.
No, I know, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm all ironed on, Deb. What do I do?
Okay, now we got to trim.
Oh, we're trimming.
We are going to trim the edges of that whole piece so that it's nice and straight.
Okay.
And we've got to, if we look at the pattern, just be really careful with how we go through the points.
All right, changing out my glasses. Here we go. Oh, these are distinctly dirty. So. Okay. So I'm going to be doing my trimming a little bit at a time. There we go. And what do you think I should use? Is this one okay?
I think so.
Okay. And am I starting from the end?
I would do the long sides first,
Okay.
just to get them out of the way, and then do your ends.
Oh, I see. And there's my little instructions on the back here. And it has me following along that lovely V that Deb talked to us about right here. So I'm just going to follow along that and get that finished up for you. And I guess what I will do then, a little bit at a time, I will match. Now, am I doing it right on there so that there's no... to the tips of the center square. So I am going right to that V. Oh yes, I see what will happen. Okay. So, I know some of you have a terrific cutting table. Yay you. I have a terrific cutting table. It just isn't terrific for this. And I could have cheated and cut this at the store. But I made a deal with you that I was going to do this and have Deb show me. So, here we are. Is everybody else... So we know that Anne-Marie is done. Is anybody else... I know Pat's done. Anybody else trudging along here? Making some progress? Penny, have you made progress? Have you got this puppy all started? Going? Sometimes the hardest part is getting in that damn sewing room or getting in your sewing space. Okay, and I'm cutting... Use the straight line, run my ruler up there to make sure this is straight. Okay. There we go. And what am I doing? Cutting this right off the end here, Deb?
I found that easier to handle than trying to cut down there. Penny is way behind.
No.
But excited for the next quilt along.
Oh.
Girl after my own heart.
Okay.
I wimped out on our last block of the month and had Anne put it together for us. So it's done.
Oh yeah, and it's beautiful. And we will get that posted, and it is in the store for you to see if you come in the store.
And our next quilt along starts third week of the, or not quilt along, block of the month. Third week of the month.
Yes, and so what we are doing is reintroducing the most popular one we ever did. And I'm really excited about it because I never did it way back then. And Deb already gave the quilt away. It was a beautiful quilt. Absolutely stunning. So we're gonna get to make it again.
Oh, Shelley only has 2 more strips, and then she'll be at the cutting stage, and Jane is there as well.
Oh, lovely. Look at you guys go. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I found this very quick and easy, and it's a good, for me, if I was having to go somewhere, this would be my go-to to make for a bud. This would be definitely my go-to. If I was, you know, going for a weekend or a lovely dinner, wanted to take something handmade without spending a week of Sundays doing it. Also, I would cut this at the store.
It's nice for people to see a real sewing room. Because it's easy when you have space, right?
Oh, I know all those.
And none of us do.
All those lovely shows with the big, and they walk 20 feet to get to the ironing board, and I'm like, whoa, look at you go. You're going to get your 10,000 steps in while you're in your sewing room. I won't even get 100 steps in my sewing room. Okay, now do I cut this little end off?
Yes, cut your angles, your straight lines.
Right on it?
Yes.
Okay.
My favorite part of these quilt-alongs is getting to tell you what to do.
Oh, that's really nice. Now we know. Now we know how we ended up in all this, guys. This is how I ended up in this mess. My bossy partner.
I think people are having fun.
Maybe.
Right, guys?
Because
right,
they're
guys?
watching you boss me around.
Exactly. That was my point. Even a friend of mine said last night, oh, I happened to catch you guys. It looked like you were telling AJ what to do. I said, yes, Gloria, I was. It felt so good. Right, Shelley? Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Now you
Well,
got to
cut
sew those
then.
curves.
Look at that.
Gorgeous.
Loving it.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Okay. Oh, look. So I started collecting my strips for the for our next quilt, our 11 o'clock class. Okay. So Deb says,
Speaking of Gloria Long. Hi, Gloria Long.
Gloria
In Alberta.
Long. Hi, Gloria. Hi, Gloria. Okay, Deb says I'm doing decorative stuff on this now. So, am we actually doing this stitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd maybe do one curve. One set of curves.
Okay. So, well, here's the thing, peoples. I'm not sure everybody wants to watch me do the boring. This is boring part. So you want to have red in the bottom because we're going to decorative stitch on top of these guys. I'm gonna choose green. I think green. It's I don't want it to pop more than the quilt, so it all depends on your fabrics. If they're all more tone on tones and you really want your stitches to pop, then make sure you have like a contrasting thread.
And I guess you could change your top thread every time you did a curve if you wanted, right?
Oh, sure you could. There's lots of things that you have to do that with, for sure.
We've achieved our goal. We've talked Shelley into doing multiple projects at the same time.
That is what happens, sister. That's the thing. That's the kicker. So if you're going to be using your decorative threads, you need to you should maybe check out on your machine. Some machines require a lot of different things. This I'm going to take this out. I was sewing a backing for a charity quilt yesterday. Okay, we need our red in there. Some machines, there it is. Some machines require like, if you've got rayon on the top, you should put rayon on the bottom. And some don't mind. These machines, honest to God, if you look at them sideways with your tongue stuck out, the damn thing's going to pop a thread somewhere. But that's up to you to experiment with. Remember, you still need the walking foot on. And the big major thing that we need right now to change, and it's super duper important, like super duper important, you are going to need, don't film the top of my head. Okay, thank you. You're gonna need the embroidery needle. So,
AJ, do you have any thread that's not cross wound? It's round. It's wound in a straight line. I'm going to go hunting, guys. I know what I'm looking for here for a sec.
I don't even know what that means. There we go.
Just to what AJ was saying about thread, I know on my machine, you have to be careful where you put it. So this thread is wound, how would I describe that? Up and down. Like it goes down here and up here. This thread is wound straight across. On my machine, this thread I would have to put up this way on the feed. I'd have to put it here.
That's what I'm talking about. Some machines are very particular about the thread that you, and how you situate them.
So really watch that because it'll really mess it up. Shelley notices that you always sew with your walking foot on. Is there a reason?
Yes, because I don't need to sew with anything else. Like you just, honestly, it's always, back in the day, Mary Light, I asked her that one day, and she goes, she never takes it off. And I thought, yeah, why would I bother to take it off? It's, first of all, it's a pain in the ass to take it on and off. It's, you know.
So it has no negative impact if you're just piecing.
No, it's just, it's even feed all the way through, so I just leave that on. The only time I ever take this foot off is if I'm like, didn't need my zipper foot or something on. That's the only time.
Pat points out a good thing too, that on her machine, she found that her walking foot doesn't like using decorative stitches. So she had to use her regular foot. So sometimes it pays to do a little sample off to the side before you
absolutely
mess up your project.
So, yes. Well, and that's the thing. And machines are just, to me, they're like people. They're very quirky. They have their little things. This one does not like invisible thread, but my workhouse, my Lily, she loves invisible thread. So when I'm doing the invisible machine applique that I do, that machine is the one I go to. This machine costs 3 times as much as that machine, but that machine handles it way better. So, all right. So, I don't know. I guess now it's a case of what we gonna do, Missy. Like, I guess we can choose anything that we want to do around there. So, Pat brought hers in the other day, and I haven't posted it. It's really cute because, right, Pat, is the same height as you, sort of. It made me giggle. And Pat had, was that little Christmas trees, Pat, or little bells? Damn it. I can't check my camera because, you know, Deb's using it. But, so it was little... anyway, it looked like Christmas bells or something that she had. But she has a machine that does everything except for wash dishes. So that's probably why it was so awesome. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm going to do like one of these little guys here. You don't need a machine with fancy stitches. You just need nice thread. And you could actually use your regular, what they call utility stitches on your machine. You can use a lot of utility stitches. A zigzag with pretty thread, a hemming stitch with pretty thread. Like this is the machine blind stitch. This is your buttonhole or blanket stitch, it's called. You know, any of these would look fine with the pretty thread. Like, that's really all that matters. So, and now I just have to remember how to change this freaking thing. Change it. I'll go that way. Okay. I don't really know what I did. It's been so long since I've My machine does the same where it tells you what foot you should use, what kind of fabric should be in there when you choose that stitch. It does some weird stuff. But, you know, all I've been doing is binding bloody quilts and stuff like that lately. So let's just see what's going to happen here. And so you'll need to, if you have, you know, that stuff that I cut off, the stuff I cut off to, you know, my scrappy bits. Here we go. Yeah, here. This is perfect for a test run. And it would also, so I'm going to do that actually. God, mornings. I would have thought of this last. I was doing this afternoon. I would have definitely thought about it ahead of time. Okay. So, oh, for crying out loud, I got a goddamn Christmas tree right underneath my table here. Okay.
Great way to check for tension too, right?
This is why I'm doing it,
yeah.
right? Because I noticed the red pulling up on there. Okay, so nothing's, I just picked a regular stitch because I'm retarded. Okay, I'm not supposed to say that on it. So my tension seems to be pretty good. A little bit. But this way, it is a bit of a test run. I am going to do, you know what I'm going to do? This. Because I just want to show you guys this so that you can go and try it on your own. So this is something, again, that you're going to want to go slowly because you're going to want to work your way around the curve just gently. And one of the best ways is, if you're not used to doing this, is take a spot. So in this particular case, I'm taking the edge of my foot right here, and I'm going to follow that all the way along this. And that way I know that this stitch is going to be in approximately the same spot each time. It gives me a guide. So I'm just taking that edge of that foot and following it along my curve. Okay, now here's a little key that I learned from this lady I took years ago. You can actually, instead of making a mess in that corner, you can make that stitch a little bit smaller to go into the corner. My machine, you can see it. So it goes into the corner nicely and finishes off. So take the time to do that. A little tap, tap, tap. And nice. There we go. All right, and you can choose to go on both sides of your fabric, or you can choose to keep it on the one side of your curve. Pretty simple.
And the nice thing is you only have to do the curves.
Yeah, so you're just going to go along and do all of that. I think for me, my big decision will be, what will I want to go on this white? Because it's going to pop. So we'll have to see. Maybe a blanket stitch. Maybe that zigzag. I don't know.
And that's another case, I guess you could grab a scrap of fabric and test it and see what you think.
Yeah, take your little end bit, throw a piece of fabric on the top. Sometimes this will catch on your foot, and do some playing around. And then after we're done that, all you gotta do is do your binding. So binding's easy. And if you're stuck on doing the binding, go and see our binding video on the website. It'll show you how to get the binding made, and it'll show you how to get it on. There's also a hand binding video for the next job, which is sitting in front of the TV and getting it all finished. All right, if you have any questions, email Deb or I, and I'll get Deb to answer it.
Exactly. And photos. We want photos. Yeah. We want to see how you guys did.
Absolutely. So send us photos. And 11 o'clock, we start the next class on snack time. So hope to see you there. Happy quilting.